Hello and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're making a chicken and penne casserole. So to start with, you're going to need about 2 pounds of skinless chicken breast. You can use other kinds of chicken, but I prefer using breast meat. You can slice this up when you're putting it into your skillet. You don't have to make it totally small pieces. You can do the medium size. They are going to get cut up later when they're going into the actual casserole. Make sure that you have your heat up to medium high. You're going to want to salt and pepper each side of the chicken when you put it in now, and when you turn it later, you're going to season it again with salt and pepper. You're going to cook the chicken for at least 4 or so minutes on each side to make sure that you've gotten a lot of the cooking done. Mind you, it's going to cook more later as we put other ingredients in, but this is just to get it started. Now you can cover this while it's cooking. You don't have to. As long as your heat is high enough, it will cook. As your chicken is cooking, you may want to move it around slightly to make sure it does not stick to your skillet. Sometimes pans stick, sometimes they don't. I'm using a non-stick pan. I haven't had much problem with this, but it doesn't hurt to move them around just to make sure. And now, once you've reached your 4-minute or so marker, go ahead and flip them over, and you can see that the bottoms have cooked nicely. And once they're all flipped, you are going to season again with salt and pepper. And you're going to cook these for another 4 or so minutes to cook on the other side. So that way we're making sure the chicken has gotten a lot of the cooking done, but it's not having to be completely cooked for this recipe. You just need to get the outside cooked a bit, because in a minute we're going to actually add stuff to this. It's going to cook for 20 minutes further, and that will actually cook the chicken through. So right now we're going to season it. So what you're going to add to this is 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of garlic pepper seasoning. So that way that's added to the salt and pepper you've already added on. And then you're going to use the standard can of spaghetti sauce, which is 24 ounces, I believe. And you're going to pour this over the chicken. Get everything out of the can that you can use. And then on top of this, you're going to sprinkle 2 tablespoons of sugar. You can add a little more if you want it sweeter. This just kind of takes the edge off of the tomato sauce and makes it a little on the sweeter side. But as I said, once this is in and your chicken is there, you get your chicken covered, you're going to actually let this simmer for about 20 minutes. So you can turn the heat down to about medium at this point and let it keep going. And as you can see, that's what I've done. Once you reach your 20-minute marker, you are going to pull out the chicken and set it aside on the platter, because you're going to cut it up into small pieces once it's had a moment to cool. So make sure you get it all out, and then once it's cool enough for you to do, cut it into bits. And you can make these pieces as large or small as you want to go back into your casserole. So once you got the chicken out, at this point we're going to add some water. You're going to need at least 1 3/4 cups of water added into your sauce. So that way it's going to give it a lot more liquid, because when we add things into this, you're going to want it to be liquidy. So now that the water is in, you probably want to stir it up a little bit to incorporate the sauce into the water. And you're going to prepare to add your penne to this. Make sure that when you're putting your water in, you get the total amount. Like I said, it's 1 3/4 cups of water, which is what I just put in. Now, one thing you want to do before you even get near adding the pasta is get this back up to boiling again. So stir it around a little bit, let the temperature come up, and that way everything is incorporated. As you can see now, mine is boiling. Now add a box of penne, which is the 16-ounce box, which basically, you know, that's a lot of penne, but it's going to actually cook with the liquid and absorb a lot of it. So once your pasta is in, you're going to want this to cook for at least 7 minutes. So that way it starts to absorb some of the moisture and mix together, but it's cooking the pasta a lot before it goes into the oven. At some point now, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees to get it warm before you get to the point of putting anything in there. You want it warmed up. And now at this point, you're going to actually add your chicken back into the penne and the sauce. Once you get the chicken in, mix it up to where it's mixed through. Now, to do this recipe, you're supposed to have at least, I would say, 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. You're going to want to put about 1/3 of that in the pan right now. So 3 ounces. Because you're going to mix this through the chicken and the pasta, and it's going to melt in and give it like a quality of like thickness. So go ahead and stir that through. Now get your baking pan. I used a glass dish, which I sprayed because you want to make sure you have some nonstick cooking spray or this stuff will stick with cheese. And once you've done this, you're ready to transfer to the pan you're going to bake in. Now, once you get all of the pasta chicken into the baking dish, this is where the rest of the cheese comes in. You're going to pour it over top, and that's your other 5 ounces of cheese. And just spread it completely across the top of it. So that way, when you spoon this out, you get a layer of cheese on top that goes with each serving. Now, once this hits the oven, as I said before, you need it to preheat to 400 degrees. You're going to leave it in there for 10 to 12 minutes. And what you're looking for is your cheese to get like a golden bubbly quality to it. And when it's done, it's going to be really cheesy and chickeny and pasta. And this is a really great thing. It's not going to be overly wet, but it's kind of like a drier version of a lasagna in a way. Once you pull this out of the oven, you are going to want to let it sit for at least 10 minutes before you start pulling from it. So that way it has had a time to sit down and kind of marinate and stick back together. You don't want this going all over the place. And when it comes out of the oven, it will look something like this. It's a great meal. It goes a long way, and I'm sure that everyone would love this because it kind of has an Italian feel, but it's really wonderful. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.